Have you ever wondered why some industries are dominated by a few big players? Imagine a market where the majority of the industry is controlled by a handful of firms. This intriguing world is known as an oligopoly, a term that might sound like it's straight out of a science fiction novel, but it's actually a key concept in economics. In an oligopolistic market, a small number of firms control a large portion of the industry. This doesn't mean there are no other players, but those few big firms hold the lion's share. They hold the reins, they set the pace, and they have a significant influence on market trends and prices. Let's consider a couple of familiar examples. Think about the airline industry. Globally, only a few airlines dominate the skies, controlling major routes and commanding vast fleets. Or take the telecom industry, for instance. In many countries, a small number of telecom giants offer the bulk of services, from internet connections to mobile networks. This isn't a phenomenon confined to a few sectors either. From automobile manufacturing to digital platforms and even the world of entertainment, oligopolies are more common than you might think. These industries are all marked by high entry barriers, whether that's due to the need for significant capital investment, the requirement for specialized knowledge, or the existence of strong brand loyalties. But here's the thing. Oligopolies aren't inherently good or bad. Like most things in life, they have their advantages and disadvantages. On the one hand, they can lead to stability and efficiency. On the other, they can limit competition and choice. Oligopoly, a fascinating market structure, isn't it? But how and why does it occur, you ask? Let's delve deeper. As we continue on this journey, we'll explore the birth of oligopolies, their bright and dark sides, and the paradox that lies at their heart. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a deep dive into the intriguing world of oligopolies. Scene script. Oligopolies don't just happen overnight, they are born out of certain conditions. Picture a marketplace where only a few companies control the lion's share. This isn't the result of a random roll of the dice. Instead, it's the outcome of specific circumstances that create the perfect environment for an oligopoly to thrive. One primary cause is high entry barriers. It's like an exclusive club. You can't just walk in, you need to pay a hefty fee. In the world of business, this fee can take the form of vast amounts of capital required to start a company. For example, to enter the automobile industry, a company needs substantial financial resources to set up production facilities, hire skilled labor, and conduct extensive research and development. Another key factor is the ownership of scarce resources. Sometimes a few companies manage to gain control over resources essential for a specific industry. Think about the diamond industry. Companies like De Beers dominate because they control most of the world's diamond mines. This ownership gives them an unrivaled advantage and creates a significant barrier for potential competitors. Lastly, we cannot overlook the role of government regulation. Governments can inadvertently create oligopolies through policies and regulations that favor larger businesses, making it harder for smaller ones to compete. For instance, in the pharmaceutical industry, the lengthy and expensive process of getting drugs approved by regulatory authorities can stifle competition, allowing only a few big players to dominate the market. Each of these factors individually can tilt the scales towards oligopoly, but when they coincide, they create a potent recipe for the birth of an oligopoly. It's a fascinating phenomenon, a testament to the dynamic nature of our economic system. Now that we understand how oligopolies form, it's time to discuss their impact. Are they a blessing or a curse? Let's delve deeper into the intriguing world of oligopolies in the next scene. Contrary to what you might think, oligopolies do have their advantages. Let's delve into this surprising fact. Firstly, oligopolies are prime examples of economies of scale in action. When a few companies dominate a market, they can produce goods on a grand scale. This mass production typically leads to lower costs per unit. Think about companies like Apple or Samsung. They manufacture millions of phones annually, allowing them to spread out their costs over a vast number of units. This efficiency translates to more affordable prices for consumers without compromising on profitability. Stability in prices is another advantage of oligopolies. In a market dominated by a few big players, there is often an unspoken agreement to maintain prices at a certain level. This practice, known as price leadership, prevents destructive price wars and brings a sense of predictability for consumers and investors alike. To illustrate, consider the airline industry. Major airlines rarely undercut each other's prices drastically, maintaining a certain level of price stability. But perhaps one of the most significant benefits of oligopolies is their ability to invest in research and development. Companies within an oligopoly usually have the financial muscle to fund innovation and technological advancements. Take the pharmaceutical industry for instance. The development of new drugs is a costly and time-consuming process. Yet companies like Pfizer and Moderna can afford these investments due to their dominant positions in the market. Their research and development efforts often result in groundbreaking medications that can save lives and improve health outcomes. In these ways, oligopolies, despite often being viewed with a skeptical eye, do bring certain benefits to the table. They can harness economies of scale, provide price stability, and drive innovation through research and development. These advantages in turn can result in more affordable products, predictable prices, and cutting-edge technologies for consumers. So, oligopolies can indeed be beneficial, but what about the drawbacks? While oligopolies can bring benefits, they also have their downsides. It's like a coin, with two contrasting sides. So let's delve into the darker side of this economic model. One of the major downsides of oligopolies is the potential for collusion. When a small number of firms dominate a market, they can easily collude, either formally or informally, to control prices or manipulate markets. An example of this is the infamous OPEC oil cartel. This group of oil-exporting countries has been known to collude to control global oil prices, impacting economies worldwide. Another disadvantage is the reduced consumer choice. When only a few firms control a market, consumers often have limited options. Let's take a walk down the cereal aisle in your local supermarket. You'll see a wide variety of brands, but did you know that most of them are owned by just a few companies? This lack of competition can stifle innovation, as firms have little incentive to improve their products or develop new ones. Higher prices are another dark side of oligopolies. With limited competition, firms can maintain high prices, knowing that consumers have few alternatives. Imagine living in a town with only one grocery store. That store can charge higher prices because there's no competition. That's oligopoly in action. Some might argue that oligopolies can lead to economies of scale, which can result in lower prices. But it's important to remember that this isn't always the case. Often these savings aren't passed on to consumers, but instead contribute to larger profits for the firms. We also need to consider the potential for abuse of market power. In an oligopoly, firms can use their dominance to squeeze out smaller competitors, further reducing competition and choice. Clearly, oligopolies are a mixed bag, but it's important to understand them, as they play a significant role in our economy. As we navigate through the complex world of economics, it's essential to understand the full picture, including the less shiny aspects of oligopolies. So, let's continue our journey and explore the paradox that lies at the heart of oligopolies in the next scene. Oligopolies, then, are a paradox. They can bring both benefits and drawbacks. In their essence, oligopolies are markets dominated by a small number of powerful players. They spring into existence due to high entry barriers like significant startup costs or exclusive access to resources. On the bright side, oligopolies can lead to high-quality goods and services, as the few competing firms strive to outdo each other. They can also result in economic stability, as price wars are less likely in such markets. But there's a darker side to consider. Oligopolies can stifle competition, leading to higher prices and less innovation. They can also concentrate power in the hands of a few, which might not always serve the greater good. Understanding oligopolies helps us make sense of the economic world around us. So keep asking questions, keep exploring. Until next time, stay curious.